Alright, hello there everyone. Welcome to this video where I tried my best to explain why I don't like Ike in Ultimate. And like, don't get me wrong, I do like the guy. Okay, Ike is one of my favorite characters, period. Like, both in Smash, both in Fire Emblem, you name it, but I just don't know where to begin with this video. There's just a lot of things wrong, I feel like, that I want to try to explain. And yeah, before you click away or before you get your pitchforks, just let me try to explain why I don't like Ike right now. I just think Ike's design is too simple. It's way too simple, way too straightforward in Ultimate. Like, it always was to a certain extent. Like, Ike's game plan was always kind of the same. Or like in Smash 4, he wanted the grabs so you can up throw forward air, and you still wanted to properly space your air, properly space your moves so your opponent can't punish you out of shield. But in Ultimate, how do I say? Where did I even begin with this? The game wants you to spam aerials as much as possible because that's where they put all these buffs, more or less. That's where all the frame data increases got. And yeah, like a lot of characters got that buff too, but with Ike it's very, very lopsided with his buffs because all his landing lag got reduced and his aerials either got like slightly reworked or got slight more damage or got reworked entirely with up air, for example. So I feel, yeah, that's great, but I feel like a lot of the buffs just went to his aerials and not much else. Where'd I begin? It's just, I've tried to gather my thoughts as best as possible, because there's a lot to talk about here. So yeah, the improved frame data is good, but I just don't feel like it changes anything from Smash 4. Because he can still do everything he did in Smash 4, just better and safer in this game because of frame data increase, or decrease rather. And the game plan is definitely not the issue, I think, because you still need to do the same things you did in Smash 4 with proper spacing, punish people for trying to punish you, you know, stuff like that. But one of the big problems I have is that his aerial buffs give you no incentive to use the ground moves at all. And this is what I mean by lopsided design. Because his aerial frame data is just so good overall that actually it just overshadows everything else he has. And that's why you see Ike constantly jumping around, throwing out nairs, throwing out aerials, on shield, still safe. Unless they get parried, which is happening more and more as time goes on, I think. So I think Ike is going to drop off the face of the earth eventually when people learn to parry properly. But yeah, the problem is that his aerials are way too good, and his ground moves are way too... They're not bad. They're not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they're way too bad in comparison to his aerials. Because the game obviously wants you to throw out aerials constantly. They want you to adopt that kind of playstyle. And that is maybe not a problem for some, but for me that's an issue, because first of all, that's not how I want to play Ike at all. And it's just not how I play the game in general, so there's a clash in that. Because I have tried to play Ike the way I want to play Ike, and it just doesn't work. And let me try to explain why. Because his ground moves are worse than his aerial moves, you don't want to use the ground moves as much, right? So up tilt is great for anti-air, but it's only good for when you know it's gonna hit, right? Because it has too much startup. And it's just laggy move that you can't really throw out willy-nilly. The same goes for up tilt. It's still good, good range, great damage, but if you want to throw it out, you gotta make 100% sure it's gonna hit. Jab is actually really good. It sets up for tech chases or jab blocks, even actually. So the reward of jab is actually good. And if they decide to double jump immediately, you can punish them, like call out their double jump with back air, forward air, whatever really. So jab reward wise is actually good. It's really good out of shield and everything too, so that's good. Grab got really nerfed because of the hit stun in general, the hit stun nerf in general, so you won't really get much out of grab anymore, aside from putting your opponent straight into disadvantage, so that's always good, but it's not that big of an incentive, you know? And I always thought that Ike was a character that benefited from a patient playstyle, defensive play, and bait and punish. But it's painfully obvious that the game wants you to jump around and spam aerials and just rush your opponent down with that. And that's kind of where the problems come from, because Ike's rushdown is aerial based. And sure, you can mix up with bottom-up grabs or space it so even you can space your aerials so that you can't even get punished, which is also good, but the problem here is that you have to work really, really, really hard to get any hits in eventually, especially against good players, because good players will probably move out of the way of your attack, so you'll miss. And if that is any other move than Nair, you're probably gonna get punished. They'll probably also parry you a lot more often, and parries are gonna make Ike's disappear the fates of the earth eventually, I think, because parries really, really hurt him a lot. I think maybe neutral air is gonna be unpunishable, maybe, if it's spaced properly. I don't think Nair is punishable at all, but that's only when you space properly, and you can't do that all the time. So yeah, I know that the game wants you to play that way, and it's obvious because hello, Mr. Nair, ha ha ha, aerial man, yeah, you know. And the worst thing is that those jokes aren't jokes, it's true. Ike's aerials are too good to not use, and that's why everyone jumps around, throws out aerials like it's nobody's business. And that's how the game wants you to play him, and that makes me very sad, because it doesn't resonate with me. I know this is kind of personal bias going on, and yeah, I know this is my problem more than anything else, but I still want to get it out here, just explain. And I think like a patient bait and punish style works well if you're playing against a rushdown character, because they're gonna come to you, so that works. But when Ike is gonna try to play like that against a projectile character, or just a character that can camp him in general, then you're resorted to aerial spam again, because that's the only way I can approach. Because his running speed isn't the best, and his grab range has gotten kind of reduced too. So you're kind of stuck with aerial approaches, and I don't like that. I don't like that thing. Oh. And I also feel like Ike relies on the opponent messing up, because you want to punish whatever they're doing, but when you're playing against good people, they're not gonna mess up. And then suddenly that game plan doesn't work. And then you're kind of stuck in a rut, because what are you gonna do then? Yeah. I think they did a great job. It's just that Ike's design is very lopsided right now. His aerials are too good, his ground moves are too bad in comparison. You really don't need to use them. And that's sad. That's really sad. I remember in Smash 4 you had to use like everything of Ike's moveset could be used to some extent, but I feel like Ike in Ultimate is closer to Smash 4 Palutena, where yeah, where only like 4 or 5 moves should be used, because everything else is just useless almost. I know it's maybe an extreme comparison, an example, but that's what it feels like to me, and that's I think that's the problem. And then, in addition to that, Ike did get buffed quite a bit, But the problem is that everyone else also got buffed, so I think Ike is still stuck in the same area. He still has the same problem. His recovery is still really punishable regardless of which way you go, if horizontal or vertical. He still can't get in properly. Like, yeah, parries really do help, but power shields were much better when dealing with projectile characters. And like, yeah, the game just favors... The game favors projectile characters and rushdown characters, I feel. And Ike is none of those. His speed isn't good enough. And the game obviously wants you to just jump around and do aerials, and that's not always gonna hit, or it's gonna get parried, or... I don't know. Ike just doesn't fit me. That's the problem, I think. Because sure, he got buffed, but so did everyone else, and then therefore he's still stuck in the same spot that he was in Smash 4, where everyone camped him out, he couldn't get in, and I think that's the same problem here. And I think that's the nail in the coffin for me as well. Pretty much. His lopsided design and what he struggles with is just... It makes me want to drop him then. That's the sad part. And it's just a darn shame as well, because I was really excited for him, but he ended up just not being my kind of character. And that is why the Ike Guide is not coming out ever. Probably not. Probably not. I don't know yet. The more I think about it, the less I want to do it. I had a lot of good ideas for it, but I just don't want to play Ike. I just don't want to play him anymore. I have to agree with the consensus that Ike is way too simple. His game plan is too straightforward. The game has designed him... Oh, I don't know. I just don't like how it's designed right now. Yeah, he has a lot of other moves, but his aerials are just way too good, and therefore he will just do that. In any case, I hope I managed to somewhat explain my case on Ike right now. In some fashion. The video is kind of a bit all over the place, but yeah. If you have any thoughts that you want to share on the topic of Ike in Ultimate, then please go ahead. The comment section is there for you to use. And I will gladly participate in any discussion that happens down here, so yeah. Thank you guys for watching or listening, and I'll see you guys in whatever I make next.